All right, before we get into the minutiae of the third installment of the Obi-Wan series, I want to address the disgusting, ignorant backlash against the series and its diversity. There are plenty of good reasons to dislike this series, but its diversity is not one. And a lot of this crap seems to be aimed at Moses Ingram, aka the third sister Reva, who was great in her role. I mean, the role is poorly written, like most of the series, but that's not her fault. And the fact that there are people out there who have the nerve to get angry because a black character has some agency in a Star Wars vehicle is sickening, and there just shouldn't be any room for that kind of bigotry in this fandom. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
And on that note, let's get the conversation started. Hello and welcome to LexiCon Reviews, Episode 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, exclusively for our YouTube channel.
Yes.
You guys...
Named Part 3.
Yes. Have you noticed, too... I'll get into that in a second. How this is seemingly, of course, spoilers for the episode and the previous two if you haven't watched it yet.
Yes.
I think we forgot to say that in the last episode.
Oops.
But if you notice how this is almost paralleling the Bad Batch, where you have the precocious child, the older former members of the Republic are responsible for, and she gets lost in the city, and then now she runs into somebody who's pretending to be on her side, but is really an enemy, and now everyone's probably having to go save her, like they did with Omega. I mean, I guess we should have taken a cue from the extremely unimaginative titling structure for this series.
It's just a 6-part movie.
This is, regardless, it's the most unimaginative Star Wars vehicle that I've yet to see. And that includes the Disney trilogy. For as little as I like them, and for as much of a disservice as I think they are to the Star Wars canon, and as derivative as they are of the original trilogy, I still think they had some more creative, original ideas than this series.
I think Force Awakens didn't have as many original
I think this series is just completely bereft of any sort of imagination, except to make Obi-Wan look as shitty as possible.
Like, the only original idea in Force Awakens is Finn.
I do wonder if this whole series is just going to be like Obi-Wan and Leia globe-hopping, trying to get her home, and he's got to rescue her from some people, and then she get back together, I guess, but... That's not what I signed on for. I mean, I thought this was going to be Obi-Wan's life on... I knew it was going to go to other planets because of the previews, but I thought that was just going to be a small part of it. It looks like this is going to be the whole series at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't expecting him to just have, like, this adventure with Leia for numerous reasons, and I expected him to pretty much get her home and then be on to something else.
Yeah, me too. I thought... I wasn't sure if we were going to see her at all in this episode. I thought maybe he'd have returned her to... Alderaan and be back in Tatooine before this episode really even got started. But overall, I thought this episode was more of the same from the first two episodes. More punk-ass bitch Obi-Wan. I thought it did have one really cool moment, though, when he took the blaster to the stormtroopers and he shot one of them down off the tower and he fell onto the laser gate and was bisected by it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool shot and something I hadn't seen before. So I guess they did have one creative idea.
This was also the first episode we saw Obi-Wan ignite his lightsaber.
That's true.
Finally.
But I did like the way this series was seeming to follow in the footsteps of like Mandalorian and Bad Batch and really present the Empire as this monolithic evil.
Yeah.
Because there's this really contrarian attitude amongst a lot of people, like, oh, the Empire wasn't really that bad, and the Sith maybe had it right, and the Jedi are evil. I don't mean to sound like Anakin, but it seemed like a lot of people want to parrot those beliefs.
In my eyes, the Jedi are evil.
And I feel like the series, by and large, have done a good job of restructuring that. Like, what was it, Eric Voss, or was it your boyfriend Matt Pat who said it? It was like, well, the First Order, they're really evil, but the Empire wasn't so bad.
I thought Matt Pat had like a whole thing about that.
Regardless, that seems to be sort of the attitude of a certain generation at this point, and I like the fact that the series have sort of leaned hard on the idea that the Empire is evil and we're going to show you why.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you have Obi-Wan talking about how he was taken from his family like all Jedi are when they're kids, and they're sort of starting to veer into that lane of the Jedi kidnap children, which is absolutely not true and has never been stated in any official Star Wars canon anywhere. But that's what the people want to bring up just to be contrary, and it's nonsense.
Interesting.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand that the old Jedi Order had issues, and I'm not trying to say they were perfect. And if you're into the Extended Universe books, you know that Luke tried to fix a lot of that stuff, and he got rid of the ideas of, like, Jedi can't have attachments. I mean, he himself is even married to Mara Jade and has a son, Ben.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's room for improvement in the Jedi Order, but I mean, the idea that they're just, maybe they're really the bad guys is just ridiculous. And I'm tired of it, and I thought, for the most part with these series, we're getting away from that, but then all of a sudden this starts to veer in that lane. It's just another reason not to like it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the backup there, guys.
Look, I'm sorry. I only know so much when it comes to Star Wars.
Well, anyway, getting back to Obi-Wan and Leia's adventure with the troopers, they hook up with the mole face guy, and
Yeah.
He was interesting.
I know, but sometimes it's just like, what kind of weird creatures can we come up with? Let's not make them make any sense or be interesting or anything. Let's just throw and it's going to be practical, so people are going to really like it with that old school feel. It's not going to be that stupid CGI that George Lucas ruined the prequels with.
What, do you know that those mole people appeared in a one-panel comic 15
And look, I'm fine
years
with
ago?
the different species populating the Star Wars galaxy. It's just sometimes it seems like, we don't have any good ideas, let's just throw a funny-looking creature in there.
For some reason, his voice didn't match him to me. Like, he was talking like, that does not feel like it should be coming from you.
But anyway, I thought it was interesting. Obi-Wan, he pulls out the blaster and he takes out 4 stormtroopers, but then all of a sudden an officer with 3 stormtroopers comes like, I took down 4 stormtroopers. 3 is too many for me now.
Yeah, it's
What
like,
the hell?
whoa. I guess he doesn't have as much cover now.
I don't know, but I also thought that her reveal as a double agent was sort of telegraphed. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching, oh, she's going to take out the trooper. She's a good guy, or she's a rebel spy, or she's whatever you want to call her. She's a double agent. She's going to help Obi-Wan. And just the camera shots and the music and everything, it just set it up. And I don't think it's a good idea to telegraph that sort of stuff. I thought they could have done it better.
Yeah. Be a little less predictable.
She was interesting enough. They did say her name, but I don't recognize her from any other Star Wars series. Of course, I don't even know what of the books are canon anymore at this point, and I haven't watched all the cartoons, so we'll see where they go with her. Honestly, I thought she was going to get killed by Reva once Reva found her way into the secret passageway,
Same.
and she had made the decision.
the secret
And she had made the
passageway.
decision to turn around and come help Obi-Wan. I thought for sure she was going to die.
That just seemed like one big
Same.
tunnel.
I also,
That's what it seemed like, just one long tunnel, but then that one person manages to get out without running into anything, and the other one manages to get to the end without running into Leia or anything, so it's like, what's going on here?
I guess he just stepped
force
into.
sensitive, so she probably has some
yeah.
advantage.
I guess what
But
happened is she
still.
stepped in the secret tunnel. I was like, oh, I predict this leads to the port. Immediately left it and went to the port. So, like, drove there.
I also thought that Rebel double agent was dead once she shot at the stormtroopers, like Vader was going to take her out.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, fire. I better back off from that.
Oh no, I died. I'm scarred from fire. Early.
How did y'all feel about him torturing Ben with the fire?
That was interesting.
I still don't understand this whole... And I should have thought about it to begin with when we were promised this showdown with them, but when they meet up in A New Hope again on the Death Star, Darth Vader's all like, that's a force presence I haven't felt in a long time. And then he's like, when last we met, I was the learner and you were the master. Now the roles are reversed and the circle is complete. So it's like, does Vader still consider himself a Padawan at this point?
Who knows?
So I don't quite understand. In the same way, like I say, and again, I understand New Hope was created first 45 years ago, and now they're building these series on its back. But at the same time,
You still have to line
they should at
things
least
up.
pay a little bit more attention. And it's like, wouldn't Leia have acknowledged her relationship with Obi-Wan if they spent this significant amount of time together?
Yeah.
And had this kind of adventure together? 'Cause she's all like, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Not like, hey, remember when you saved me? And Darth Vader came and burned you? And I just...
Yeah, but when creating these things that come before, you still have to pay attention to that and understand. We have to get to that point, so we can't do stuff that doesn't make sense.
I also would question why Darth Vader can't sense his own daughter nearby, but you have that same problem in A New Hope when they're even closer
True.
physically, so... Oh my god, I do at one point when Leia looked at Obi-Wan, she's like, are you my real father? I'm thinking, oh my god, don't make the worst retcon in the history of retcons and make it turn out that Obi-Wan is the twins' father.
Oh god.
Or it's one of those weird twin pregnancies where there's actually 2 separate
God.
fathers and he's Leia's dad and Anakin's Luke. I'm like, no, please do not do that. I would not put it past Disney at this point, but oh my god, that would be the worst thing.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, maybe not as bad as The Last Jedi, but still.
Luckily, I think that might be a bit too far for Disney. Disney will do some dumb stuff. That one might go a bit far for them.
Yeah.
I thought it was Vader was like, time has made you weak, old man. I'm like, time or the writers.
Yeah, I'm like 9 years from now, he's gonna be way stronger.
Facts. But, I did find it cute when he's saying the story about seeing her mother and whatnot in her face, even though it's the fake story, it's also kind of real, I thought that was cute.
The fake car wheel story.
Yeah, it's like he's like telling this fake story, trying to get away without revealing them, but that part is also...
that long story that he told the stormtroopers, like, it's a long way, and 4 minutes later they're there. It's a long way. Oh, there's our stop.
I like seeing chill stormtroopers.
Yeah, they're fine. You like the stormtroopers in the hot tub.
It's like, the bad guys, but
that's your
also the
vibe.
chill.
Hot tub
They can be chill
stormtroopers.
sometimes.
One other thing I did like about this episode, I liked the loader droid who they said wasn't allowed to speak or whatever, but, actions speak louder than words, and he was ready to take action. He had that hammer behind his back. He was going to bludgeon a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd gone far enough to actually show him do it.
Fact. That would have been great. He gave me Baymax vibes.
Kind of?
Yeah. I don't know. I
guess.
don't know what about him, but it was kind of Baymax vibes.
So he's a bit more violent than Baymax.
That's up for debate.
Baymax mixed with Wally.
But Baymax is like, I will not hurt a human. This guy's like, I will freaking bash your skull.
Remember when he was recoded, though?
That was with the bad chip thing.
Yeah, but still.
So another question I have from this week's episode is the Grand Inquisitor dead, or...
He appears in Rebels, so he's not dead.
That's what I thought, but they sure were playing it up like he was dead.
That's what it seems like, but there could always be a quote-unquote plot.
I think it's a presumed dead.
Or just bad writing.
Either one.
But interesting thing, the little guy with the, helmet, he's like, I will be the next Grand Inquisitor. He actually does become Grand Inquisitor in, Season 2 of Rebels after the original one dies.
Mm-hmm.
Spells for Rebels.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it. I had to bet down the wiki.
Again, I'm super disappointed with this series overall, and instead of building on, the Obi-Wan character, they're just detracting from it. I always thought he was a little sus not sus, maybe he's a bad guy, but, sometimes he looked kind of like a badass. He defeated Maul, he defeated Grievous, he defeated Anakin, but he got his ass kicked by Dooku multiple times, and he really barely beat Grievous, and he barely beat Maul, and they talk about Anakin having to save him all the time, so I thought this was going to be the chance to really build him up. Like I say, sort of and not that Vader needed the building up, because, you felt that aura. Like I say, I think sometimes they don't do a good enough job establishing a character, but when Vader first comes on the screen in New Hope, you feel that menacing presence from him, and the way he's spoken of. And by the way, having him just abuse locals really doesn't make him look like a badass.
That's fact.
It makes him kind of look like a bully, and maybe the one of the greatest evils in the galaxy would be that way, but it doesn't really establish his badass bona fides.
Well, I agree.
And it's kind of weird too, because Anakin doesn't necessarily strike me as the bully type. I think he'd go after somebody if he had a reason to, but he wanted to bring order to the galaxy.
Yeah.
He had a misguided way of doing it, but would he just really just...
I don't think he'd just choke a random person.
Yeah, you could argue, well, they're hiding, the person he's looking for, but I don't know. It feels off. Everything feels off about this. Nothing feels that good about this series, and it stinks, because I really did have pretty high hopes for it.
It's just sort of meh.
Considering how beloved the character of Obi-Wan is, or at least how much I thought he was, and considering how good the streaming series and the cartoons and whatnot have been so far, and considering that at least going into The Force Awakens, I had some idea of what it was going to be because I'd seen the previews, and I knew they were getting rid of the extended universe canon from the books. I gotta say, this might be the most disappointing thing in Star Wars that Disney's done.
Damn.
And don't get me wrong, I still hate The Last Jedi way more, but at that point, I didn't have as high hopes for it going in as, I did for this.
Yeah. Something does feel off, but technically there are 3 more episodes. Maybe they redeem themselves somehow.
We still haven't seen Qui-Gon yet.
No,
I think the titles have gone out the window.
You know what they're going to do at the very end of the very last episode is be like, it's going to be like, Obi-Wan, Master. And it's like,
yeah.
Fuck off.
And also I saw Darth Vader just snap someone's neck with the Force.
Yeah.
But that seems overpowered.
I think we saw him do that to some of the rebel troops in Rogue One.
And it feels like anyone's like, it's time for a duel. Dead.
Welcome to being strong in the Force.
That seems overpowered.
I feel like the Force can be pretty overpowered.
How do you counter Force a neck snap?
You don't.
With the Force? You gotta be powerful in the Force too. And that's why you should only use it for good, and that's why the Sith are evil. Alright, are we done with this episode? Because I'm done with it, I think.
I think so.
I
will say it is interesting, and maybe even more so in light of some of the the ignorant backlash against this series, that we went from the not-so-subtle racism of the Inquisitors against the Third Sister in the first 2 episodes to the Rebel Underground Railroad in this episode.
Yeah. At least I'm not the only one who saw that.
No, definitely not. That was pretty obvious, I thought.
I felt like it was.
Subtlety is not this series' strong point.
No.
Alright, well, thanks for checking out our review of Episode 3 of Obi-Wan. Come back next week for more conversation on the Obi-Wan series, and also check out the main feed of the podcast, where tomorrow Mario Wars drops.
Yeah!
Yay.
And of course, as always, come back next time when the conversation will continue, but until then, I will continue to be Maddie.
Lexi.
Dylan.
This is LexiCon concluded.
Bye.